we have a disclaimer on the bottom of my presentation since I'm working for the EPA that says the views expressed in this presentation are those of the author and do not necessarily represent the views or policy of the U.S. EPA. So take that the way you want to. But we're here to try to protect our local watersheds all over the planet and also train citizens how to care about their environment, to be stewards. There are many different things that's going on in citizen science. Here's a group of some of our greatest citizen scientists in this country. There's all sorts of things we can do with citizen science, partnering with just regular people. Anybody who comes and tries to do some sort of scientific work without getting paid for it can be considered a citizen scientist. So, and as you said, there's all sorts of studies with birds that we couldn't do without citizen scientists. There's certainly a number of citizen science venues, all sorts of organizations that's popping up all over America and also all throughout the world. So as the gentleman here said, there's many venues to get involved with citizen science. Citizen science fits nicely in the EPA strategic plan though. We're trying to get our people inside the EPA and also outside of the EPA to understand the basics of what we do in the Office of Water, and that includes some of the people that are at the top now. We have to make them more science literate, as well as trying to empower the public to be able to help them understand how to make a difference in their local decision making so that policies that will help empower them and clean up the environment can be realized. Now, some of the overall objectives of our Office of Water citizen science efforts, first of all, we need to assist the public in conducting scientific research. We need to all be citizen scientists, I don't know what's going on here, and help them to understand their local environment as well as trying to facilitate local community involvement. I'm a resident of Washington, D.C. I live in Southeast Washington, D.C., in one of these low-density areas that they want to build up. And it's important for us to try to facilitate involvement and stewardship. In Arabic, there's a word, khalifa, which means those people who are, we are divinely kind of tasked with being caretakers of the environment. So we all have to be caliphs. And we also have to try to educate the public on the importance of inland and coastal waters. So how do we do that? Well, there's an organization in the city called Earth Conservation Corps. And maybe you've heard about them, but they're one of the greatest organizations here. There are many others in this city. But on September the 18th, we had a great activity protecting the Anacostia watershed, where we trained over 100 students from a local middle school by teaching them how to take pH and temperature and dissolved oxygen and giving them hands-on opportunities to be scientists. Some of these kids had never been to a water body in their life. So it's important for us to try to start early for the next generation of teachers and professionals and leaders and scientists so that they can come behind us and maybe there'll be some fish left, you know, that they can catch or photograph or whatever, you know. We also had an opportunity to go to the Pascagoula River watershed and do Protect Your Watershed workshop. And it's a great place. If anybody hasn't been there, this is a trip you should really take. The Pascagoula River is the longest navigable river in the country without any dams or anything on it. So, and it's like hundreds of different types of birds live there. So we had a workshop there where the local citizens came out and learned about their watershed. Another thing that we're doing here is we're creating a citizen science learning series that trains people about water quality standards. We also show them how to monitor and assess their resources. We've established these monitoring resources at the Earth Conservation Corps, and we've done several mini academies, and we've trained thousands of students right here on the Anacostia River. Many of you probably know that next year is 2018, the year of the Anacostia River. So that's important for us to kind of latch hold and begin to learn more about this resource that we have here. It's the centennial of the founding of the Anacostia Park. So this whole watershed, you know, is very important, and it gives us an opportunity to introduce students and any citizen science to different monitoring protocols, teaching them about water quality standards, GIS. There's a bunch of things that we need to keep the younger ones, and that's our main focus here, is to try to make the adults jealous or ashamed of their kids knowing more about the environment than them. We also had citizen science photo contests that we worked through EPA and the National Environmental Education Foundation, NEEF. And it was just a simple test where we got people to take a digital photograph about what they're doing in their local communities. And we were surprised at the outpour of people that we got to be involved in this effort. We've also had a program called the Water Sleuth Learning Program. I'm a father. I have 3 sons that's been in the Boy Scouts. And they go through a number of different environmental science badges. And, you know, sometimes I would go out and we would come back home, and other kids in the neighborhood would kind of look at them begrudgingly and like, what are these guys, what are they doing? And you know, I felt bad because I was like, we all need to be out there. Why should just the Boy Scouts get to learn about, you know, environmental science? So we came up with this Water Sleuth Learning Program so that we could reach a wider audience. And it's many other agencies are actually using this program to do outreach throughout the website with the National Environmental Education Foundation. One of the big things we do is to provide technical assistance to local and federal partners on standards, and we do this through an MOU with EPA. We participate in many field studies, collecting samples and working in critical habitats. We work with colleges, universities, and we do a lot of responding to requests from states and local NGOs to provide speakers and trainers on standards so that we can help citizens become involved and take an active role in their communities. There's also a local support toolkit for the Anacostia Outreach and Education Project, where they're implementing and distributing rain barrel messaging to help alleviate some of the toxic runoff that are going through our storm drains. And this is an important program, and we hope that the local government will do more implementing and distributing rain barrels, period, you know, and not just rain barrel messages. So this is something that we all can get involved with to try to reduce loads to the environment. Something happened, okay. All right, we've had a lot of partnerships and coalition building as a result of outreach and citizen science. And I mean, there's a big list. Like I said, Earth Conservation Corps is one of our biggest helpers, but we've also worked with National Geographic, Park Service, Forest Service, the Geological Survey, Audubon Society. I mean, just a number of whatever your imagination can think of in terms of partnerships, you know, that's what your limit is. So let's all do more outreach. We can all do more, all right? There's a lot of things that citizen scientists are doing, you know, on a professional level with actionable data that can help states with their data needs. Some of them include bacterial analysis, processing E. coli and total coliforms and all different types of bacteria. There's also a lot of source ID that's going on. Beach sanitary surveys, doing trash assessments, looking at man-made versus environmental contaminants. There's a lot of that going on. There are also many citizen science organizations looking at harmful algal blooms. They're doing sensory monitoring. They're using drones to try to take pictures of this stuff. You know, sample collection, and again, crowdsourcing different type of species in the watershed. Also, I'd like to throw a bone to a good friend of mine out in California. Eric Burrs, you might have heard of him. He works with the California Water Boards, and he has one of the most comprehensive and extensive websites in the country where they actually have digitized all of the protocols to sample professionally, so that the citizen scientists will have the same knowledge and skills that the professional scientists have, so that that data can be used by states to you know, use it for policy making or even permits issuance. Some of the other things we do include outreach. There's a lot of outreach going on, best management projects, crowdsourcing again, beach health reporting. There's just so much out here that we can connect to try to make our message a lot clearer and hopefully get people to understand the importance of having good, clean water. And recently we had, this is Eric here, we just had a couple of water contact sanitary survey workshops. We have a marine sanitary app that EPA has just put out, which is basically a format for reporting data for local citizen scientists. So we actually protected the Santa Ana watershed and worked with the Inland Empire Riverkeeper organization there a couple of weeks ago. And we also protected the LA River watershed. We did a survey where people are actually having primary contact, not just recreation, but they're living in watersheds. You know, there's a lot of homelessness in a lot of cities, and people are living where there's water access. So it's important for us to try to see, you know, what the impact of those waters, especially waters that are polluted, have on the people there. And finally, this last slide is, I just want to reassure people that, you know, the EPA has been through a lot, and we've had a lot of people that come through that weren't, I would say, environmentally literate, but we're going to keep going. You know, EPA has a lot of friends, the environment has a lot of friends, and we've got to keep being friends to the environment and not let a few small minds, you know, get us off track. Let's keep trying to heal the earth. I'm your partner. You know, everybody in here is your partner, I hope, to protect the environment. And this last slide, I just want to show you, if you've been to Earth Conservation Corps, if you look at the picture on the top, that's in 2005. That's how the Anacostia River looked. Before it was a baseball stadium and all that stuff over there. But we've been cleaning up the river, and this is how it looks now. and everybody wants to be down there. So when you clean the water, you know, it's good economically. It makes good economic sense. If the developers want to come build, that's fine, but let's get them to help clean up the water as well, all right? Let's, like they say, make the dream come true through volunteer service and partnerships with all the agencies. The other little thing I'd like to say is in 2005, you see there were only 2 sponsors, the EPA and Earth Conservation Corps. But now everybody wants to play. All of those labels you see on the bottom, everybody wants to be a part. So that's great for collaborations and partnerships and coalitions. Like I said, let's make the dream come true. We can have clean water. Thank you.